You're watching Chili Boy Productions. I'm Larry Chili Boy Chilson, and this is my review for Jungle Cruise. Now, before we get into our Jungle Cruise today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every new video, including all of the latest movie reviews. Jungle Cruise is a 2021 family adventure comedy starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Emily Blunt as a skipper and an adventurous doctor who are on the quest to find an elusive tree that is full of legend and myth. And while they try to unravel the mystery of this urban legend, many enemies follow hot in tail. So Disney is back at it again with yet another film based on a theme park ride. And that has not really worked out to great success in the past because, yeah, we have Pirates of the Caribbean, but for that one film, we have about 10 others based on rides that are really, really bad. And I'm going to hit you with a hot take real quick. I'm not even a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, including the first one. But I love Emily Blunt. I just love her. And I find The Rock to be quite charming in the right role. Plus, the film looked fun enough, right? And ultimately, Jungle Cruise basically gave me what I was anticipating. It's not horrible. It's certainly far from the worst of these theme park ride movies, but it's still also not very good. So let's go ahead and kick off with the positives. Well, far and away, the biggest positive of this film is what actually holds the entire film afloat, and that is our leads in Emily Blunt and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who I think have wonderful chemistry together. They bounce off of each other in the comedic moments really, really well, and are both just kind of having fun with it. Emily Blunt, particularly, I adored in this movie. I loved her character. She was the most funny to me, and I loved her brand of action. It really harkened back to an Evie, a Dr. Evie from the Mummy series with Rachel Weisz. And I love that character arc, that character archetype, and Blunt killed it. But Dwayne The Rock Johnson is also really charismatic, as he usually is, with this role. And he certainly turns on those charms, in addition to turning on those muscles for the action he takes part in. I also thought Jack Whitehall was having some fun here, and his character waned in and out for me, but he was certainly the other member of the cast that I at least enjoyed to some extent, which I think is going to be a hot take, but we'll get back to the character I think everyone is loving in the negatives. I also loved the leopard. She was one of my favorite characters in this film, though we're going to get back to CGI also in the negatives. But of course, anything to do with lovely animals is a delight to me. Plus, it definitely feels like an old school type of family adventure. It's certainly safe for the entire family. There are some jokes that are going to go over the kids' heads that are fun for adults at least, and it has that good old swashbuckling type of adventure that I think kids will find enjoyable and adults will go along with as well. So then, what didn't work so well when it came to Jungle Cruise? Well, the biggest negative is that it is far too long, clocking in at over 2 hours long. You could have shaved off 20 minutes from this film easily and still told this story, which is a very strange circumstance of being an overly convoluted tale. The circumstances and scenarios in which we have to go through are very convoluted for no real good reason, but it's also a very predictable and simple story that did not require over 2 hours to get through. We could have simplified the adventure itself, and I think the film would have been all the better for it. And I think some of the cinematography is fun, though a little bit generic as well. That CGI really swung. It was very, very hit or miss. Sometimes the scenery and such looked beautiful. And I really actually liked when we transported in and out of the map to real life. I thought that all looked great. The boat, the river, that's great. The animals, however, ooh, they were rough, including that leopard. Half the time, she looked okay. The other half, she looked very CGI and nowhere near realistic. The same could be said for all of the snakes in this film, which shouldn't actually be all that difficult to animate. So it's shocking that the snakes looked as bad as they did. We have some dolphins in here, we have some frogs in here. There's a lot of animal stuff that takes place, and most of the animals look really bad for a film that costs this much money to make. I also found it all just to be overwrought. From top to bottom, it is over the top, over exaggerated across the board. That's probably why I liked Emily Blunt's character, because she was the only one in here with any sort of levels and nuance, if you will. Everyone else is just on 100. Now, Paul Giamatti is fantastic when he is on. When he hits that sweet spot and delivers a great performance, he's amazing. But woof, when Paul Giamatti isn't on and doesn't deliver a fantastic performance, he's nearly unbearable, honestly. And the latter is the case here. I thought it was this cartoon disaster performance from Paul Giamatti. And just thank God he's not on screen for that much time. But the other performance that I think other people are enjoying a whole lot more than I did came from Jesse Plemons, who I thought was this exaggerated caricature that didn't work for me, and borderline offensive in how cartoonish it was. It was too caricature. Even in this film, he was turned up more than anybody else, and it didn't work for me. This is one of those cases where big campiness just fell very, very flat. But also very overwrought in your face was James Newton Howard's score. Now, I love James Newton Howard as a composer. I think he's fantastic. But wow, was this score in your face? He is doing everything he can possibly think of, throwing in every cliche, sound, and trope to make you think Indiana Jones type of adventure. And oh, I found it exhausting. It was the worst type of manipulative scoring. And that's really, really disappointing. But overall, it's just too long, and we go stretches where not a whole lot is happening. And I found myself wandering and getting quite bored through sections of this film. So I would say Jungle Cruise is an okay to serviceable family film. If you're looking for something to do with the family this weekend, there's enough charm, enough ridiculous humor in here that I think you'll all probably have a good enough time. It works splendidly well as a time passer. However, it doesn't reach the heights of the films it's so desperately trying to emulate, whether it be The Mummy, whether it be Indiana Jones, or whether it even be Disney's own ride film, Pirates of the Caribbean. It falls dramatically short of reaching the heights of any of those films. And yeah, the puns were rough. I was sitting right there with every other character in this film, wanting Dwayne to just shut his mouth with these dang puns. Literally, this was me in the theater. So that was my review for Jungle Cruise. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Jungle Cruise? And what is your favorite film based on an amusement park ride? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.